Anthony Richardson, newly anointed Colts quarterback, taking on CJ Stroud, his contemporary in the draft this year, who the Texans took over Anthony Richardson, going to Houston. And then the Colts are currently favored at -1.5. So Vegas thinks this is going to be a one-score game.
I think it will be because we don't know the status of Anthony Richardson. How healthy will he be and be ready to go? This is actually a game where I'm going to call Texans upset. And we remember last year, I was the Texans whisperer. Will that carry over into 2023? What I liked from the Texans in week 1, their defense. They made some nice plays. I liked what I saw from Will Anderson and some other boys on that defense. Their defense was pretty underrated last year for a team that was pretty terrible. And with the status of Anthony Richardson being unknown, and then the Colts defense that doesn't scare me, and then if it's not him, it's going to be, a Gardner Minshew. And I think Gardner Minshew is a capable quarterback, but I do think that defense can contain him. I think this is a low-scoring game, but I do think it's going to be a tough, gritty AFC South game. But give me the Texans in this game. I think this is a game where we see more from CJ Stroud. Couldn't have had a worse week 1 opponent. You're facing off against a top 5 defense in the league with John Harbaugh, with a bunch of talent, with Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith. Now you're going to go to the Colts where you have DeForest Buckner and you have some decent players on that team, but I definitely think that he should be able to pick that team apart.
Yeah, and I think with this game, it's definitely tough to go against the Texans whisper because on one hand, I'm like Anthony Richardson, he has Michael Pittman, some talent on offense. Their defense was able to slow down the Jags, but your defense at home and on the road are very different in the NFL. And I feel like the Colts have always underperformed. And then also the Texans were able to hold down the Ravens pretty decently in the first half. And that pass rush and run defense looked pretty good. Like it looked above average, and the fact that Jonathan Taylor isn't there, Anthony Richardson took a shot in that game. I want to pick the Colts, but I'm like, I think the Texans defense is going to give the Colts problems because the Colts aren't going to be able to run the ball. Anthony Richardson is going to have to do everything on offense, which is going to keep opponents in the game. He's still a rookie, and I think he's going to have some turnovers. And the Texans are going to be able to... Dameon Pierce is enough to win this game. And I think they were able to stop the Jags, but your defense has to translate on the road, which doesn't always necessarily happen. So I think this could be a close game that Dameon Pierce, just being that steady running back, is going to be the difference for the Texans being able to control the ball. And then we'll be like, okay, maybe there is a debate between CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson.